Greetings, everyone. As promised, I am here to show you a little bit about in-text citations and creating a works cited. So this is the sample paper. There's really nothing in there except for a few sample quotations and citations and things like that. So if you'll notice, this first citation here in the paper, it's itself in quotation marks, and that's because this came from an article on NPR, um, and I was pretending that this article did not have an author. The author is actually Kat Lonsdorf. So if an article doesn't have an author, what you would do is you would simply put the title in the citation. But because this author's last name is Lonsdorf, this would actually be, sorry about that, this would actually be just Lonsdorf, the last name, right? Because these are on the internet, there are no page numbers. Then I have this other article right here. The author's last name is Wutakani, and that came from a Reuters article. And basically, I'm just, as a sample, I'm using the COVID-19 topic that was in the essay for the cause and effect essay this semester. And what I decided to do was just I Googled and typed in the word Reuters because Reuters is one of the sources I told you was a good source. And I typed in Reuters, US economy, COVID, and I found some very recent, relatively recent articles. And one thing I love about Reuters is that it tells you how long the read is going to be. So fantastic right there. Then also I found this article in the Denver Post. Now it's actually blocking me because I looked at it more than one time, but it talked about how COVID created a seismic shift in our economy, right? And so this is author's last name is Svaldi, and so I have that later down here in the paper. So that's basically how you cite these things, right? So take it a couple steps further, let's look at the STC library databases. So I just typed in STC library in the Google search field, and we're going to go ahead from the main library page, and I'll show you exactly how to get there. So from here, you go to you scroll down. Sorry, go to research, and you can do discovery search, or you can do research guides, or you can go to databases. So discovery search is one that's going to check multiple databases at the same time. So I can type in US economy, see, and then type that in COVID-19. So, here's some articles already. Now, what you can do is you can, go through here and you can say, I want this to be an academic journal that can find my search. And I can also say, I want it to be full text. So that way it's something that I can actually look at. So if I click on this now, um, there's a description, right? So you can read this description. Sometimes it's called an abstract before you decide if you want to use it. So I'm going to say I want to view it online now because I'm already logged in. It's letting me look at it, and it will take you right here and show you, the abstract, so you can read what the article is about. Or I can click on full text, and if I click on full text, it'll actually open it up, and then I can see. Click view full text, and it should give me a PDF to look at. So I can download the PDF. I can open that up. And this will actually have page numbers. So if I were going to cite this, his last name is Newman, and say I decided to quote something from page 2, in my paper, I would just put parentheses, Newman, space, 2, close parentheses, and then the period goes afterwards. So pretty basic, right? And so I'm not going to go deep into the databases and all that because I already showed you that. You've already watched the videos on the library tutorials. But what I did want to show you is how to turn this into an effective works cited. Okay, so in your add-ons, if you don't have this, you would just go to Get Add-ons. And one of the main add-ons that people try to get is EasyBib. Okay, so it's usually right here at the top anyway, but if not, you can just search for EasyBib, and then you would click on it, and you would add it, right? So you would normally click, like right here, this says uninstall, you would normally click install to add that on. So I'm going to go ahead and open my EasyBib bibliography creator and manage bibliography. So I'm going to choose, make sure it's in MLA 8th edition, the most recent edition. And then the cool thing is here, look, I can click on where it says website. I can go use all the articles that I've done, just copy and paste the URLs in there. It'll search it up. It'll say, oh, is that the article? You click yes, select it. Okay, so that one's in there. Then I go to the Reuters article, copy that, go back to my paper, make sure I'm still on website, right? Drop the URL in there. Okay, that came up, right? The Denver Post article, even though now I'm not able to read it, but I did already get my information from it, so I can copy that URL, put that one in. It grabbed that one too. So it's starting to pull all my sources together. This is really cool. All right. Now, I think that was all I had from there, but what I did have was I had this PDF that I downloaded, but I got it from the databases, right? So there's a few different things I could do. One thing that you can normally do is you can make it, yourself. You could also go to let's see if this link works. These links don't always work in EasyBib. Okay, so it did. Okay, so that's cool. But I want to show you if it doesn't work. Like if you were to say put this URL in there, it would not work. Okay, because this is the URL of your search results. Okay, so there's usually something called a permalink that you can find. You can also use this. It's called a DOI number. Okay, so let's see here. You can usually find this at the bottom of the article if you need to. It's called a DOI number. I'm sorry, y'all. Bear with me for just a moment. I'm doing this on the fly, so it is not in there. Okay, so that's fine. What we'll do is we'll go ahead and use, because it worked, we'll go ahead and take that and add it. So let me show you what happens if we don't. I can just go to view details. I need to sign in. All right, yay. I don't know what happened there. So there we go. Now it's pulling up the details. So like I said, if you were to put this in here, what that's going to do, if you put that URL in there, is that's actually going to give, it's not going to give you a result. It's just going to keep spinning. Okay, so let me go back over here. So there are a couple things that you can do. You can go to where it says cite, and you can pull that citation up, and that's kind of what I wanted to show you. Okay, and it's right here. Okay, and then you can also try something called a permalink. So I'm going to try the permalink first and see if it'll pull that up. So I'm going to copy the permalink. I'm going to drop that in here. See how it still doesn't work? So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to add it manually. Remember how I clicked the cite button? Most every database is going to have that cite button. So I want to show you how to do it when you don't have, when it won't come up in EasyBib. So real cool here is, I'm going to delete that one. You can click Add Bibliography to Doc. And what it does is it puts it at the bottom of your document for you. Okay, super cool, right? Now remember that one that we were unable to put in there. So what I would do if I were you is I would copy that, and then you go back to your paper. The last name was Newman. If you hadn't noticed before, a works cited has to be in alphabetical order. So LM Newman goes between M and S. So I just need to hit return in there, and then I can paste in there. Now, it actually kept the proper hanging indentation format, but it did not do it in the right font. So I'm going to undo that really quickly. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to paste without formatting. And what happens here is that now it doesn't have the hanging indentation. So I need to highlight this, and I can go to Format, Align and Indent, and then I go to Indentation Options, and I go to Special, click Hanging, and then click Apply. And what it does is it makes it look like all the rest of them. Okay, now the one last problem is if your works cited is at the bottom of the page like this, it needs to be on a separate page. Now, if you go through and hit return to move it to the next page, and then when you're editing your paper, you end up making it longer, it's actually going to take the paper, take the works cited and move it down the page improperly. So what we want to do is get it back where it was, where they gave it to us. And right after the very last punctuation mark of your paper, you go to Insert, you go to Break, and click Page Break. And it'll automatically make sure your works cited is on its own separate page from now on. For some reason, it did it incorrectly. Page break. All right, see how now it's at the top of the page? So that's what you want. So insert the page break. That way, if I add to this and I make this 2 paragraphs longer or something like that, see, no matter how much more I add to the page, see, it kept making it break because I added it after the page break. So I'm going to undo that. And I'm going to add something here in the middle of the paper. And it's still making it break for some reason. So you want to wait until you're ready to turn in that final paper before you add that page break, okay? But whatever you do, it's going to end up, oh, I know why, because I copied the last paragraph, and the last paragraph right after it, it had the break in it. So if I copy from here, and say I add several more paragraphs to my paper, no matter what, it will always continue putting my works cited on a separate final sheet. Okay, so I hope that's been helpful and didn't add to your confusion. But the other cool thing is, say you want to add more sources to your paper for some reason, you can always delete this, and you can continue adding sources to your bibliography as you're writing your paper, and then you can still click Add Bibliography to Document. And if you already have that page break inserted after your final period of the paper, the final punctuation mark, it'll automatically put it on a separate page, okay? And once again, if you have any questions, feel free to ask me. Now, notice that when I did delete that, it did remove the source that we added, the Peter Newman source. So you can go back and copy it that way. But also remember we were somehow able with this, there's also something called a DOI number. And so you can use that, the DOI number, under where it says journal article. So you could put that in here, and so you can enter the title, keywords, or what's called the DOI number. So there's a lot you can learn about EasyBib, and I don't want to take up too much of your time. with it, but it is very helpful. And this works with almost any college library database, not just South Texas College. So anyway, thank y'all so much for your attention, and I hope this was helpful for you.